Tonight on CTV News at 6, an attack at an Edmonton Sikh temple.
When they tried to subdue him or try to restrain him, he assaulted several members of the congregation.
A double stabbing during early morning prayer.
Incidents like this pose a direct threat to all Edmontonians.
Improving our city's snow and ice plans, including a possible calcium chloride comeback.
I welcome another tool in the toolbox.
And Edmonton hosts an international lion dance competition.
We just want to show you what Chinatown can be like, what vibrancy will look like. We get support from the community and from all our different levels of government.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. An early morning attack at a Sikh temple in the northeast has left people in Edmonton's Sikh community in shock. 2 men were stabbed with what police believe was a screwdriver. They say the attacker has a long and violent criminal history and had been released from a federal prison just yesterday. With more on what happened and where the investigation stands, let's go live now to Jeremy Thompson. Jeremy, that happened early this morning.
Yeah, Jeff, it happened just around 5 o'clock this morning as a small group of worshippers were going about their morning prayers. That's when a man entered the temple and disturbed the prayer room. When worshippers intervened, he attacked. Police say he had just been released from a federal prison outside of Edmonton, but didn't check into his halfway house. Wedding guests file out of the Nanaksar Gurdwara while a police cruiser idles in the parking lot. The Sikh community defiantly celebrating a cultural and life event just hours after an attack.
An altercation took place. He interrupted the morning prayer service.
Sikh temples have an open door policy where anyone is welcome. Just after 5 a.m., worshippers noticed a man had entered the prayer hall and something felt off.
There is a Guru Granth Sahib, a holy scripture that the Sikhs pray to, and that he went straight for that. When they tried to subdue him or try to restrain him, he assaulted several members of the congregation, 2 of whom were hospitalized.
Police say the congregants managed to hold the attacker until officers arrived and arrested him. A 51-year-old and a 75-year-old man were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening stab wounds. Investigators believe the attacker used a screwdriver. The 27-year-old suspect was also transported to hospital. Police are not naming him until they lay charges, but say he has a lengthy and violent criminal history.
We've learned that he was released from a federal institution yesterday, August 20th, 2026, where he had been serving a sentence for aggravated assault and assaulting a peace officer, and he failed to report to his designated Edmonton halfway house.
Investigators say that prison was not Edmonton Max, just down Highway 15. For now, they will only say it was an institution in Alberta.
Incidents like this pose a direct threat to all Edmontonians, negatively impacting residents and the character of our city. Hate and racism and prejudice have no place in our city.
Police are still determining whether the stabbing was a hate crime at a time when hate appears to be on the rise.
What we're seeing in Canada right now in terms of polarization, politicization of certain things, leaders speaking out in different directions or not speaking out against hate, these are the things that the police are dealing with, and it's becoming increasingly complex.
This attack comes in the wake of a number of other incidents involving the Sikh community in Alberta. There was an altercation at a Walmart in South Edmonton a few weeks ago, and earlier this week, some threats against Sikh temples in Calgary. Jeff?
All right, Jeremy, thank you. That's Jeremy Thompson live for us to Northeast Edmonton tonight. Primary and Preventative Health Services has issued a public alert about a home-based injections business. It says anyone who received a service from Max Klein may have been exposed to a number of illnesses, including hepatitis B, C, and HIV. It also says Klein is presenting himself as a doctor. The College of Physicians and Surgeons says he has not been licensed to practice since 2015. 4 years ago, a tribunal found he administered an illegal substance to a colleague without their knowledge or consent. Health Services is asking people who received a procedure from Klein to call 811 or speak to their doctor. A proposal by city staff to improve snow and ice clearing around the city is seeing mixed reaction. The nearly $24 million a year plan includes dedicated crews for event snow clearing and bringing back calcium chloride. Nicole Weisberg reports.
On a warm and sunny summer day, winter snow clearing isn't on most Edmontonians' minds. Christy Morin is an exception. She is the general manager of the Deep Freeze Festival on Alberta Avenue.
This is Deep Freeze 20th anniversary coming up in January 2027, and we have seen unprecedented snowfalls many times.
Last winter included. The festival put out calls for help ahead of the event due to mountains of snow clogging up surrounding streets. In response, the city moved up residential snow clearing in the area.
It's always been one-offs, and it's tiring because as a team we're like, oh no, is there going to be help? Is there going to be support this year? And last year was exhausting. It was like a part-time job.
A new proposal by city staff suggests dedicated crews for snow clearing for festivals, major events, and commercial shopping corridors.
So we have done a lot of engagement. The biggest thing that we're working on is timing and availability.
I am so excited that we've been heard.
The nearly $24 million a year proposal also includes bringing back calcium chloride, something the city stopped using in 2020 due to concerns about rust and pollution.
I welcome another tool in the toolbox. I always have a discussion about it. I know that several years ago, the way it was rolled out wasn't really adequate.
Councillor Karen Tang says she's looking forward to hearing about how it might be different this time around. A local chemical engineer and car enthusiast is concerned.
So if they've not done pilot projects, if they've not addressed it differently than they did the last time, which to my knowledge they haven't, then I'm not sure how the risk is any better this time than it was last time.
The proposal and prioritizing accessibility in its snow and ice control program will be discussed at City Hall at the end of the month. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
As demand for electricity and the amount of extreme weather events increase, EPCOR says it's ready. The company recently completed millions of dollars worth of upgrades to increase its capacity in the city. Amanda Anderson has more on what it means for electricity users.
That steady hum is the sound of electricity flowing through the Meadowlark substation. It's one of 5 neighborhoods EPCOR identified in need of upgrades.
Across that heat wave in 2025, we looked at where there was strain on the system, and we made the improvements to make sure that we don't have those challenges in the future.
As extreme weather and demand for power increases, EPCOR is making sure it has the capacity to handle it.
So whether it's to heat their home or cool their home or charge their EVs or just their daily lives, we're seeing more power use across the entire city. So the infrastructure that we put in will help with both winter and summer constraints to make sure that the power's there when the people need it.
Suzanne Landon says EPCOR spent $20 million on upgrades at no additional cost to customers.
Across Edmonton, we changed how power flows. We added additional circuits, we installed larger cable so we can have additional capacity.
It could also mean fewer outages, although some Edmontonians we spoke with say losing power isn't something they've had to deal with in a while.
No, we haven't had any power outages.
Does that surprise you with all the storms and the weather we've had?
Actually, yes.
Well, I've lived in Edmonton 2 years and I'm from Ontario, and I find that we've never had a problem. We've had thunderstorms and lots of rain.
That doesn't mean outages won't happen, but when they do, Landon says the upgrades allow crews to get the lights back on quicker. Mother Nature has tested EPCOR's new and improved grid several times in recent weeks.
We did see some improvements during the storm because we had more connections in the system and were able to route the power around to restore outages faster.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Indigenous interns at the University of Alberta showed off the work completed during this year's iSTEAM Pathways program today. The program is a 16-week paid summer internship for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students to gain research experience. Focus is mostly on environmental fields, including science, environmental engineering, and environmental law. One participant says having a program specifically dedicated to Indigenous students opens the door to many possibilities.
For example, I'm researching fish, but other people are researching trees, methane, solar systems, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just, there's so much variety, and they really care about us Indigenous students and the land that we are on.
The university says this year's program had the largest cohort since it began in 2020. As the 45th edition of the Edmonton International Fringe Festival is winding down with an event honoring its roots. The festival is renaming its theatre after one of its founders. Ryan Paisley died this past June. It's also commissioning a mural for the entrance to the theatre honoring Paisley's memory. The Fringe says Paisley's impact is felt right across Canada.
Because of him, we have a strong network of fringe festivals in almost every city. We lost him too soon, but we are so grateful for his vision, his creativity, his leadership, and all of the ways that he creates opportunities for artists to take risks.
The festival also announced its holdover performances. It chooses some popular shows for additional dates after the Fringe closes Sunday. You can check out this year's holdover series on the Fringe Festival website. Chinatown is coming to life this week with the annual Dragon Festival and its first international lion dance competition. Competitors from across the Americas are here to put their skills to the test. Noah Rashog reports.
These lions may look intimidating, but they don't bite. Puppetry, gymnastics, dance, storytelling, and music all come together for the art of lion dancing. The Pan American Lion Dancing Competition is being hosted right here in Edmonton at the annual Chinatown Dragon Festival.
Lion dancing is an athletic sport. There's judging. There is a standardized point system. It's almost like gymnastics, but a much higher caliber.
Competitors from across the Americas are here to compete. Practicing on stage is first-time competitor Trinidad and Tobago, a small island nation of just 1.5 million people.
It's a very small community, and this is something very new in Trinidad, so it was a bit of a push, but we really wanted to get here.
They've cobbled together a team out of football players, dancers, and musicians in just the last year to make a team that can compete on the global stage.
So the team is very diverse, as you could see, different backgrounds, different ages, and I think we all come together for this one cause, and we work together, we work really hard for this opportunity, and we just really want to make our country proud and to do our best that we can do.
That global stage is in the heart of Chinatown at the Dragon Festival.
We just want to show you what Chinatown can be like, what vibrancy will look like. We get support from the community and from all our different levels of government.
Lion dancing originated in China, but as it spreads around the world, other nations are adding their own cultural flares. Trinidad and Tobago's lion is designed with their national colors, red and black. The competition continues into the weekend and will end in crowning the Pan American Lion Dance Champion. Noah Rashog, CTV News, Edmonton.
And Josh is out and about tonight. Cameron Heights for the Mighty Millions Lottery Show Home with some new friends, I see. Josh.
I have a number of new friends, yes, especially Marigold, right, Marigold? If I tickle your toe, can you say hi? This is Kara, Marigold, Lincoln, and Harrison. Did I get that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, good. I was worried I was going to get the two of you reversed. They're going to tell us about the VIP prize package in a couple of minutes. But first, let's talk a little bit about Marigold's story here, Kara. She has some experience with the Staller.
She does. Her story started at 7 weeks old, which is crazy. That's really small. Yeah. I knew as a mom, the gut feeling you get that something just wasn't quite right when she was drinking her milk. And I was right. It turns out she was aspirating milk into her lungs. And she got quite a case of pneumonia, which landed her in the ICU. Yeah. And then a lot of tests and scans and doctors to figure out, what do we do to help her grow? And a year-long outpatient program with tube feeding and stuff. But
so she's a year old now?
She is. She's almost 2.
And doing well?
Fantastic. Incredible, truly.
Right here. How much of that do you credit to the care that you get at the Staller?
Oh, all of it. Yeah. Without the support of the team, the nurses, the doctors, I wouldn't have been able to manage all the things she needed to become who she is today.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to see you doing so well, Marigold. Can you say mighty?
Mighty.
No, we'll try it again in a second. All right, we mentioned that there is a huge prize package, and the deadline is sneaking up on us. It is midnight tonight. If you want to help create more happy stories like Marigold's and help out kids like Marigold, first of all, Where should people go to get their tickets?
MightyMillionsLottery.com.
Yes, nailed it. And if they go there before midnight tonight, what is the VIP prize package?
They're going to get season tickets to the Oilers and $75,000.
Yeah, I know. How great is it that you get 2 lower bowl season seats, lower bowl, and $75,000? Can you imagine that?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Do you think people should get tickets?
Yes, they should.
Absolutely. Marigold, do you think people should get tickets?
Yes.
Yes, Marigold says. All right, so go to the website before midnight tonight. You're eligible for that VIP prize package. Also, all the other prizes, including the spectacular grand prize show home, which we'll show you a little bit more about in a second. Kara, thank you. Marigold, thank you. Harrison, Lincoln. No, Lincoln, Harrison. I knew I was going to mess it up at some point. Thank you, guys. Back with a look at your forecast in a couple minutes.
Still ahead, the vision for an independent Alberta in writing.
It's going to help minimize government corruption, of which we have a lot of.
It's a scary vision.
From an Alberta president to free passports and new gun laws, a separatist group provides details on its ideal Alberta. Also next.
The town halls come after they've done everything and made all the decisions.
The province facing pointed questions on its process at town halls and the future of AI data centers.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Alberta's separation movement is putting its vision on paper. A new discussion document outlines what an independent province could look like, from taxes to government and individual rights. CTV's Mark Villani has more.
Proud Albertans are flying their flags in favor of independence, but one group is sending an even bigger signal, spelling out what separation from Canada could actually look like.
It's designed to get people talking. It's designed to get people thinking that, and it's also designed to get people's input back.
The Alberta Prosperity Project released this 54-page document entitled The Foundation of Freedom. It proposes an independent Alberta to be led by a president, free passports for citizens, an income tax capped at 10%, and English as the only official language. 3 levels would form governments, including a leader with veto power, an elected legislative assembly and senate, and elected judges. An elected independent body would also lead the oversight branch, giving it power to access all government documents, run elections, and investigate public complaints.
It's going to help minimize government corruption, of which we have a lot of.
The document also puts a strong emphasis on individual rights, including the right to possess and carry firearms, access and delete personal data held by the state, and choose or refuse health care.
It's a scary vision.
The leader of the Forever Canadian movement also took issues with the document's claim to protect all Albertans from discrimination, including based on, quote, lawful sexual orientation, which isn't defined.
You're looking at a combination of gunslinging Texas with very much oppressive Alabama, where no minority rights are being recognized.
How people identify is of little to no concern to me.
But some prominent separatists who are not part of the Alberta Prosperity Project say these ideas don't all fly.
It's getting a bit too detailed for what's a constitutional document. Those are policy positions. We want smaller government, we want less tax, but that's more a discussion between the electors and their government rather than having it, again, enshrined in a constitution, I believe.
Although we think that it's a bit premature, once we get to that point in time, it will absolutely be a very important part of the conversation.
A conversation that separatists hope to continue.
They have a chance right now to take charge of their future.
And a future some hope to avoid ahead of the October 19th referendum.
This really takes us back hundreds of years.
The province's data center plans were under fire at a second town hall last night, this time in Sturgeon County, where Meta plans to build one. Curtis Goodrum has more.
Ma'am, sir. Pointed questions to Minister of Technology and Innovation Nate Glubish. Many here say this town hall comes too late, with a $13 billion Meta data center project underway.
These town halls are a walk back, and it is 10 steps too late.
The town halls come after they've done everything and made all the decisions.
Alberta's Industrial Heartland Association says it's surprised by the lack of support from the community.
The community response, say, at the town halls over the last couple of days has been different than what we've seen. I think the benefits to the region will be substantial.
Potential benefits are still a bit unclear to the town of Olds. The Alberta Utilities Commission ruled a proposed data centre's power plant can't go ahead. Other municipalities have reached out to the town to learn how the regulations work.
Some actual guardrails that are in place on these types of proposals to be able to determine before these get down as far as they do.
The minister also believes Alberta's approach to data centre development is working, and so are town halls. Nate Glubish says feedback from Albertans at these town halls will help inform the province's approach to future data centre development, including work underway to establish consistent province-wide siting standards that keep large data centres away from residential neighbourhoods. Next month, there will be a town hall held in Grand Prairie. The mayor hopes it will ease some concerns surrounding a data centre project spearheaded by celebrity businessman Kevin O'Leary.
Technology is changing and that opportunity only continues to grow for people. And so I think the reality of data centers is imminent.
A virtual town hall with Premier Daniel Smith will be held August 27th. Curtis Goodrum, CTV News, Edmonton.
The annual Black Ribbon Day was marked this afternoon at the Alberta Legislature, honoring victims of Stalinism and Nazism.
In remembering, we honor the victims. In remembering, we acknowledge the pain carried by survivors and their families. In remembering, we reaffirm our responsibility to ensure that such injustices are never forgotten nor are repeated.
Black Ribbon Day is a national day of remembrance. It's marked every August 23rd, the anniversary of the signing of a pact between the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. The agreement led to the German invasion of Poland and the start of the Second World War. Black Ribbon Day is observed in Europe as well. Still ahead, a 5-year-old Alberta boy heading into kindergarten with an advantage.
He's also very funny, loud, creative, and curious.
Now he's following in his older siblings' footsteps with a membership in Mensa.
And not only just a deep question, but he likes also to know the way or the things how, connect with each other.
27 degrees for a daytime high today. Gets even hotter tomorrow. Still pretty warm on Sunday, but it could be a stormy end to the weekend. We'll talk about that right after the break.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
An Alberta boy is getting attention for having an IQ comparable to Ben Franklin and Stephen Hawking. He's just 5 years old. As CTV's Tyler Barrow explains, the high IQs run in the family.
Peru, this one, Algeria.
After seeing their flags, Ali Aldalawi can list dozens of countries. His smarts don't end there.
He's also very funny, loud, creative, and curious.
He will have to come down here, no I will.
He's now 5 years old and already reading with ease, but he can also crunch numbers quickly, which is what he prefers.
Math or reading?
Math.
He's shy, but also super smart. Last fall, Ali scored 160 IQ, putting him in the top 0.1% of his age group. According to Mensa, the world's oldest high IQ society, a score of 100 is considered average. You only get to become a member if you're in the top 2% of the population or 130 IQ or higher.
As a mom and, as parents, I was so proud, to be honest.
Hassan noticed from the age of 2, Ali was curious and liked to build new things. using his imagination while asking questions beyond his age. That's why she had him take an IQ test.
Not only just a deep question, but he likes also to know the way or the things how, connect with each other.
And it runs in the family. His 10-year-old brother Omar and 7-year-old sister are Mensa members. Their parents are earning their PhDs in computer science and petroleum engineering at the University of Calgary. When Ali gained entry last December, at the time, only one other 4-year-old was a member in Canada.
They see patterns well on IQ tests, but they see it in life. They see it in math. They see the pattern in reading.
But Ali still enjoys being a kid. His favorite soccer player is Cristiano Ronaldo, which also explains his haircut.
As a mom, I feel happy, and I feel he will do very well.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
All right, let's go back out to Cameron Heights now, where we find Josh. Josh, you're in a beautiful house, and that was a beautiful day.
Yeah, and a beautiful location for this spectacular house, the grand prize show home in the Mighty Millions lottery, supporting the Stollery Children's House. Girls, do you like the house? Yes, they do. They do. Did you like seeing yourselves on camera too? Okay, good. There you go. Just over 4,900 square feet, and located here in Cameron Heights on the ravine, right? So you never have anybody behind you, just beautiful views. And, I mean, not only do you get this house, which is worth $2.4 million, but you also get $100,000. Now, that's not the big prize deadline tonight. Tonight, it's the VIP prize deadline, 2 lower bowl season seats for the Oilers and $75,000 cash. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. First, take a look at your daytime high today, 27 here in Edmonton, 5 degrees warmer than average. 22 is the average daytime high. 12 is where we started the day this morning, pretty close to average. There's the River Valley Skycam. 26 currently under blue skies, and we'll see that clear sky stick around right through the rest of this evening and into the overnight period. 31 in Jasper for current temperature and a daytime high. 22 in Lloydminster and 25 right now in Fort McMurray. Wind, not much of an issue here in Edmonton today, and shouldn't be much of an issue tomorrow either. Look at mainly sunny skies across most of the province thanks to that upper ridge, that orange zone that you see there. Warm air in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere that kept skies fairly clear, helped pump in some heat. That'll stick around right through tomorrow, but then it starts to fade off to the southeast. And on the back side of that, you can see the storm track right through central and north central Alberta late Sunday. Whether or not those storms roll right over top of Edmonton or stay just outside the city remains to be seen, but they're going to be close. Tomorrow we'll start the day with some sunshine. Clouds will roll in through the mid-afternoon and midday, early afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, but back to some sunshine, it looks like by late afternoon and through supper time. Chance of some storms in western and northwestern Alberta tomorrow evening, and there is a slight chance overnight tomorrow night into early Sunday morning that you might see a brief little shower push through. It doesn't look like it's going to be anything significant. Not a real high probability there. The best chance is going to be late in the day, supper time and into the early evening hours. And you see this modeling has most of those storms staying just south of Edmonton, and then a few storms as well in northeastern Alberta. East central Alberta, you get a pretty good chance of seeing some thunderstorms through the evening hours. So keep a close eye on any severe thunderstorm watches and warnings. Potential is there late in the day Sunday for some of those storms to turn severe, and possibly even here in the Edmonton area. 15 degrees tomorrow morning, up to 29 for a high tomorrow afternoon. Sunshine in the morning and late in the day, midday, mostly cloudy skies. 27 on Sunday, chance of a shower or thunderstorms Sunday late afternoon, early evening. Could even see a few scattered showers Monday morning, and then some clearing at about 23 Monday afternoon. So some heat for the weekend, little bit of a cool down there Monday, and then right back into the mid to high 20s with mainly sunny skies Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, the VIP prize package is the Power Play and $75K prize. It is $75,000 and 2 lower bowl season seats to see the Oilers this year. Go to mightymillionslottery.com before midnight tonight to be eligible for that and this grand prize home. There's your long-range forecast. Nice and hot through this weekend. Still looks pretty good Tuesday, Wednesday. A little bit of a cool down middle to the end of next week. No worse than about average, though. Low 20s for daytime highs. Jeff.
All right, sounds fantastic. Thanks, Josh. Still ahead, the clock ticks on tariff talks.
With the stakes this high, I'm not surprised that it's coming down to the wire.
What we know after another intense day of U.S.-Canada trade negotiations with a midnight deadline.
Learning how to navigate and cope with this with science in this kind of environment, to me is quite exciting.
Canadian researchers heading out on a groundbreaking scientific journey, spending 8 months in the Arctic ice. We're once again hours away from Donald Trump's threat of 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian goods. The goal is to bypass the tariffs with a U.S.-Canada trade deal before midnight tonight. Today, Premier Danielle Smith addressed the negotiations.
Alberta has enjoyed 97% of our products going across to the United States tariff-free. I know everybody hopes that we could get 100% of all products going across the border tariff-free, but I think that where we're at in the negotiations is that we're aiming to get the best agreement in the world of any nation with the United States and a reduction in the current tariffs that we have.
It has been another day of intense talks in Washington with very little information being shared publicly. CTV's Vashi Kapelos has more on what we do know.
Well, there are a couple of really important things from a political perspective I think we can take from what's unfolded over the past few days, even the past few hours. The very fact that the Canadian negotiating team has been engaged as long as it has with their counterparts in the United States, even since the extension of the 338 tariffs, tells you there's actually a lot left to negotiate. Despite the framing from the U.S. president as, almost a fait accompli, those details are really salient. I'm going to tell you why using one example, the steel sector, right? So baseline tariffs, we understand from our reporting and others, will go from 50% to 25%. But the U.S. intention is to impose a quota. So steel under that quota will get 25%, but over the quota will be subject again to more punishing tariffs. So what is that quota? That's what's being negotiated right now. And it's actually a really important number because it's going to help us assess the metrics and the veracity of this deal overall. The second thing I'm really focused on is the politics of all of this. And that is because there are a few interesting things germinating from these negotiations. And the first appears to be that we will accept a baseline level of tariffs. And that's not exactly something I would say that the Canadian public has been primed for by the Prime Minister. He talked a lot about getting the best deal compared to other deals, but the other deals are not great. So if ours is not great, but not the worst, is that enough to land with Canadians who haven't really been primed for the possibility that it might not be that great of a deal at all? I think that's really a challenge for the Prime Minister when the mood of the public, as public opinion polling shows, is so much geared to not wanting to concede more to the president, to stand up to the president. How is he going to kind of reconcile those things if, in fact, the deal appears to be what it is and there is a baseline level of tariffs that remain? That's a big political vulnerability for him moving forward. Vashi Kapelos, CTV News, Ottawa.
An investigation is underway after a plane crashed into two vehicles on a road near Prince George.
We are saddened to confirm that there has been one fatality, an occupant of one of the vehicles. The other vehicle occupants, as well as those on the plane, were attended to by emergency health services, though any injuries are unknown currently by us.
Authorities say the small plane came down yesterday afternoon and hit the vehicles. It's not clear why the plane was forced to land. The Transportation Safety Board has sent a team to Prince George to take over the investigation. A U.S. air carrier deployed in the Middle East is returning home following reports of mental health challenges and supply shortages during the Iran war. The USS Lincoln has been at sea for more than 250 days and has more than 5,000 sailors and Marines on board. U.S. officials say there have been some man-overboard incidents on the ship, including one in which a sailor was rescued. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said reports about the conditions on the ship have been misrepresented, with U.S. President Donald Trump also dismissing concerns. The ship has been relieved and is on its way back to the U.S. The journey will take more than a month. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration has reportedly joined the investigation into the death of actress Hayden Panettiere. The 36-year-old actress was found unresponsive Sunday at an apartment in South Carolina after her boyfriend and his brother called 911. Paramedics found her in cardiac arrest. An autopsy found no signs of trauma. Toxicology testing is pending. Authorities say a cause of death could take weeks to determine. 12 Canadian researchers are about to intentionally freeze a workstation into Arctic ice and drift for 8 months in the name of science. A Quebec-born researcher is leading this unique mission. CTV's Garrett Berry has more.
The 26-meter-long Terra Polar Station is home for now for Quebec-born researcher Maxime Geoffroy, a scientist with the Marine Institute in St. John's. He and his team of 11 other sailors are in Norway tonight for last-minute preparations before a trip of a lifetime.
So it seems like it's going to be the start of something that is a bit nerve-wracking. In reality, I think it will be a bit of relief that finally we reached it.
Soon they'll drive their vessel deep into the Arctic ice and will drift at the mercy of the ice flows while conducting environmental research on the ice in the ocean.
In that sense, we're like astronauts that have been trained to collect data and do science for many other groups.
It'll be 8 months before Geoffroy and his team will get replaced by a second team of scientists and get to go home.
That would be first as well. So that's learning how to navigate and cope with this and with science in this kind of environment. To me, is quite exciting.
The expedition is run by the Terra Ocean Foundation. The entirety of the boat's trip through the Arctic ice is expected to take more than a year. The journey aiming to study the place most hard hit by climate change, mapping the ice, the snow, the plankton underneath, and the gases in the sky.
The climate is kind of accelerating, climate change, and I think the Arctic is is where they have the answer of what's going to be the fate of the future.
It took many tests to ensure the crew were capable of what will be a taxing and demanding trip. They'll spend more than 4 months in polar night with very little exposure to the sun. Geoffroy says as a boy from northern Quebec, he's maybe a bit more prepared than most for the cold, the dark, and the thrill of this journey. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Still ahead, striking a chord.
We were just kind of waiting for someone like him to walk through the door.
How an Alberta guitar maker is helping ensure a historic music venue gets an encore. Also next.
To have a radio system that can transmit messages digitally as a text message through solid rock.
Alberta's Search and Rescue deploy new technology to help a cave explorer out of a tight corner.
Next week on Your Morning, fall is fast approaching. We have meal prep tips for when you get back into the swing of things and some help to pay off those bills from all your summer fun. We'll see you on Monday.
Looking at today's market numbers, the Canadian dollar up by more than 1/10 cent, closing at over 72 cents US. Oil was up just 23 cents, sneaking up past $87 a barrel. Gold's a $109 increase. On the stock market, the TSX gained 254 points, the Dow Jones up 517. U.S. President Donald Trump is waiving beef import tariffs for 90 days in a bid to reduce grocery prices. Trump said on Truth Social he's, quote, concluded a deal to substantially lower the price of ground beef for working American families. He added imported beef would be sold at 25% below current market prices. He did not identify which countries the beef would come from or who had committed to that pricing. Some Canadian banks are updating their codes of conduct to restrict employees' use of prediction markets. The new rules have been implemented by banks like RBC, TD, and National Bank. They target employees who have access to non-public information, barring them from betting on events like Bank of Canada interest rate decisions or corporate earning metrics, which determine a company's profitability. The new policies follow similar measures taken in the U.S. to prevent any conflict of interest within the firms. Alberta Search and Rescue is praising a newly developed technology for recently helping save a cave explorer near Canmore. On Saturday, a man was stuck in a very narrow section in the Rat's Nest Cave on Grotto Mountain, referred to as the Sikh Squeeze. Cave guides were unable to get him out. Confined space specialists, along with Alberta Search and Rescue, were called to help. Traditional GPS, cell phones, and satellite messengers don't work underground. So for the first time, a cave radio technology developed by Alberta Search and Rescue was used.
To have a radio system that can transmit messages digitally as a text message through solid rock and even deep underground is really helpful to any kind of emergency or anything that might need communication like that.
After about 12 hours, the man was successfully rescued and did not require any medical attention. An Alberta guitar maker is getting the chance to give new life to an historic music venue. CTV's Kevin Fleming explains.
It plays a trick on your mind because it sounds like an electric guitar, but it doesn't look like one. David Blitt from the National Music Centre is playing Kevin McCauley's custom-made instrument, who found the exit sign on Kijiji.
Paid him his $20, and as I was leaving his place, he said, I don't know if it means anything to you, but he said I was on the crew that demolished the old King Eddie Hotel, and he said, this is an exit sign that came out of that. And I thought at the time, well, that's kind of cool.
That piqued McCauley's interest because it was a venue he frequented in the 80s and 90s, listening to all kinds of live performances. First, he cleaned up the sign, then he got to work.
Basically what I did, you can't really tell from here, but I took it apart and I built a exoskeleton, if you will. So it's got a maple box basically inside of that.
McCauley and his wife are members of the National Music Centre, and when he finished the guitar, that's where he took it.
He walked in the door of the National Music Centre in the King Eddie and handed, as a gift, this exit sign King Eddie guitar. That's really how it happened. He just showed up.
Would you sell us that guitar? He said, we would love to have something from the original King Eddie. And I said, no, absolutely not. I said, it's not for sale, but I said, I'll give it to you.
The head of the museum then commissioned McCauley to build 2 more guitars out of wood saved from the restoration of the old King Eddie.
We were just kind of waiting for someone like him to walk through the door, and he did. And it's great that he's from Calgary, which is even, kind of the cherry on top, right?
I like to think that, this wood was part of the King Eddie, absorbing the musical frequencies for decades, and I wanted to keep it as true to that form as possible.
The electric guitars are now part of the museum's living collection, where artists can play them for the public to enjoy. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, a group of goats chows down on flammable foliage.
We'll hopefully get this area cleared and we'll repurpose it, with something that's safer for the community.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV.
Goats are commonly brought to green spaces to help with weeds and invasive species. Now, one such team is helping prevent wildfires on Vancouver Island and teaching others how to help. CTV's Anna McMillan has more.
With all the cameras and spectators, you'd think a celebrity was in town. In reality, it's a bunch of goats taking down a blackberry bush in Langford.
We'll hopefully get this area cleared and we'll repurpose it, with something that's safer for the community.
They're helping out the fire department by chewing up an invasive fire hazard, a task some of the goats seem to understand better than others. That's plastic. That's plastic. No. Langford is piloting the four-legged landscapers for 2 days next to Starlight Stadium. Friday was for a media meet and greet, and on Sunday, the public can watch the goats at work.
The goal is to hook people into the interest of the goats, get people excited. Once people are here, we're going to have tons of information and education on wildfire mitigation.
That Fire Smart coordinator says she'll know Sunday's event was successful if she sees more sign-ups for Langford's free wildfire mitigation home assessments.
A lot of people don't realize embers travel about 2 kilometers from a fire, and there's not a property in Langford that is less than 1,100 meters from the forest.
The team of 13 goats comes from Vancouver Island Goatscaping near Nanaimo.
The goats are very capable at climbing up those steep slopes, and so it might not be safe for people to walk up there or heavy machinery to make it up that slope. And then it's also near a water body, so you can't spray herbicides, chemicals near a water body.
It costs $35 per goat per day. They're not even making minimum wage, but the food allowance is great.
Probably about 5 to 10 pounds of vegetation a day.
If the area is cleared successfully, the goats could work elsewhere in the city. Anna McMillan, CTV News, Langford.
And that is our show for this evening. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. I'm Jeff Hastings. Have a great weekend.